Michael's hand landed on the black leather folder like a gavel. It hadn't even touched the tablecloth yet. The waiter's fingers were still retracting when Michael intercepted it, snatching the bill out of the air with a speed that startled me. I froze, my own hand hovering halfway to my blazer pocket, uselessly reaching for reading glasses I wouldn't need. The folder made a soft thud against the white linen. A small, ordinary sound. But in that moment, it rang louder than the clink of cutlery, louder than the low jazz humming through the speakers overhead. It sounded like something final. "I've got it," Michael said. His voice was tight, final. I looked at the sharp line of his jaw. It was the same stubborn set I had seen when he was 7, standing at the edge of the diving board, refusing to come down until he was ready. Back then, I could pick him up and carry him to safety. Now, he was a 40-year-old man in a bespoke suit, and I was the one being managed. "Michael, it's my turn," I said, trying to keep the desperation out of my voice. "I always handle the birthday dinners. It's the rule." I smiled as I said it, hoping to dress the protest in humor. Rules sounded lighter than tradition. Tradition sounded lighter than need. "Not tonight, Dad. It's handled." He didn't open the folder. He didn't check to see if they had double charged for the appetizers. He simply slid a platinum card onto the leather and shoved it back toward the waiter without breaking eye contact with his wife, Jenny. I didn't say anything. The waiter nodded politely, accustomed to small power plays like this one. He took the folder and vanished toward the counter. Michael leaned back in his chair, satisfied, as if a minor inconvenience had been efficiently cleared from the evening. I slowly lowered my hand back to the table. My fingers twitched, missing the familiar weight of the pen. For 40 years, I had been the keeper of the ledger. Every Friday night, the kitchen table would be covered in receipts, carbon copies, and the soft hum of my adding machine. Michael used to sit nearby doing homework while the machine sang its mechanical song. Sometimes he would hand me receipts just to feel included. I would explain interest rates, taxes, margins. He would nod, pretending to understand, trusting that I did. I was the one who caught the bank errors, the one who noticed when a decimal slipped, the one who made sure the columns balanced so the heat stayed on and the tuition was paid. My precision was the wall that kept chaos out of this family. Numbers were my language. Order was my offering. But Michael hadn't just paid the bill. He had bypassed the math entirely. "You didn't even look at the total," I said quietly. Michael sighed, a short exhale of impatience. "It doesn't matter, Dad. We're in a rush. The valet is waiting. It matters if they overcharged you," I insisted, though my voice felt thin in the noisy restaurant. "You have to check the tax. It's supposed to be 6.35%. I heard myself. How small the sentence sounded. Like a man reciting rules to a game no one played anymore. "I'm sure it's fine," he said, dismissing the concept of accuracy with a wave of his hand. "Money is money. Let's go." I noticed that. He wasn't trying to be generous. He was trying to be efficient. To him, my ritual of checking the numbers wasn't a skill, it was a bottleneck. He viewed my carefulness as a malfunction in the evening's timeline, something to be circumvented with a fast credit card and a larger tip. Jenny caught my eye for a brief moment. A polite smile. Sympathy, maybe. Or relief that the evening would move forward smoothly. Either way, she said nothing. The waiter returned. Michael signed the slip with a meaningless scribble, standing up before the ink was dry. "Ready?" he asked, already putting on his coat. I pushed my chair back slowly. The wood legs scraped the floor louder than necessary. My joints complained quietly as I stood. I adjusted my jacket, straightened my shirt cuffs. Small habits. Anchors. We walked out into the cool air of the parking lot. The night smelled faintly of rain on asphalt. The valet pulled up in Michael's car, a silent, electric thing that hummed rather than idled. Its headlights swept over us like stage lights. Michael opened the back door for me. "Hop in, Dad," he said. "I'll get the heat going." I climbed into the back seat. It was spacious, dark, and insulated from the world. The leather was soft. The ride was smooth. Everything about the car suggested progress, speed, comfort, technology. No room for unnecessary steps. No place for paper receipts or handwritten ledgers. As we pulled onto the highway, I watched the back of Michael's head. He He was talking to Jenny about a flight schedule, making decisions, steering the heavy machine with one hand on the wheel. His voice was calm, certain, practiced. The same voice that once asked me how to calculate a percentage. Now he calculated futures. I looked down at my own hands, resting idle in my lap. The veins stood out more than they used to. The skin thinner. My wedding ring still snug, still polished. Hands that had built order. Hands that now had nothing to hold. I realized then that I had been retired from more than just my job. I had been retired from my utility. I was no longer the provider, nor the protector, nor the auditor of the family fate. I was just a passenger, being ferried through the dark, paid for by a son who didn't care what the cost was. Not because he was careless, but because he no longer needed to be careful. That stayed with me. The car merged smoothly into traffic. City lights stretched ahead. Jenny leaned her head against Michael's shoulder. They spoke of boarding times, hotel reservations, weekend plans. A life running forward. I leaned my head against the cold window and watched the streetlights blur into streaks of orange light. I closed my eyes and did the math in my head, just to make sure I still could.